I've been thinking about this oil stuff for a long time because I realised that I was doing lots of pictures that were tangentially involved with imagery around oil, whether it was pictures on Iraq, which was sort of tangentially about oil in terms of wars, or the Sarajevo images, which were about Shell in Nigeria, and then looking at Iran and the effect of oil on Iran, but also it's sort of the way in which cultures tie into those natural resources or to the history that goes around them. And I thought, oh, why don't I sort of look at the crux of the matter of the oil? So I was reading and thinking about this for a while, and then last summer I was walking along the prom and I bumped into Anne Rouse, and she was talking about wanting to do some writing on perhaps more engaged or political or something to get her teeth into. And I said, oh, I'm thinking about all this stuff about oil, and sort of talked to her about dinosaurs and fossils and genies and things, and she got interested, and I said, I'll give you the raw material that I have, and maybe we could work together, not in an illustrative way, but of starting off from the same source material and see what comes out of that. And so that was the working process. This whole series of pictures, or the whole idea, I think started with one of the pictures that I did for the Iran exhibition, which was sort of generally about various different aspects of Iranian 20th century history. But one of them was a picture of a oil spirit, or a genie, in the sample tubes that they have for oil exploration, that they take samples when they're prospecting, and oil companies keep hundreds of these, either core samples from bores or tubes of crude oil. And I was thinking of how with Persian oil, the sort of genie spirit was caught in these tubes, but I was thinking of this spirit as enormously powerful energy, or earth energy that's kept underground under enormous pressure, and that when you release it, there's this enormous, huge gushings or explosions, or the force coming out of the earth. And I suppose that allies into political pressures and the human pressures of oil. Oil has its own spirit in a way that humans have given spirits to aspects of the earth, like trees and rocks and water and rivers and the sea, and that we have this narrative mythology of personifying elements of the earth, and that in a way I couldn't think that in our culture we particularly had that image of a personification of oil, or a spirit of oil. And I thought that was something I wanted to look at and tap into and see where those images led, because I thought actually those images must exist. It's just that oil hasn't had such a function in our culture for long enough for us to really be apparent, for those images to be apparent to us. So really this project was sort of tapping that history of images that we have, either over the last 100 years or even the last millennia.
I think you'd normally write a poem from something that kind of springs up in you.
Yeah.
And then you kind of almost like flypaper picking up other things that orient around it from the given experience. But this was very different. This was just taking all this data and some of it sort of difficult for various reasons, data, and then trying to... It was interesting. It was melting down in a way.
I found it having conversations, it was like the polar bear picture came to me out of something you said. So it was sort of like words. You sort of talking about words and they coming as an image. I think it was about sort of the shadows of things. And it sort of came to, you were talking about something and it sort of fixed in my mind as an image, and then I went away and this image came. So it was sort of the way in which the imagery of poetry and the imagery of pictures sort of flowed between each other, which I thought it was starting off with the same source material and working outwards was a useful, interesting way of sort of expanding visual and language thought, I think.
Absolutely. with your images, there's something very cathartic and very almost purifying about them, and I think they helped me when I saw the engineering one, which is the first one that I saw. That helped kind of anchor me. I'd probably written most of the poem, but I think it was very, very, very condensed and very clotted, and I'm lucky to have a partner who was pointing that out to me, and you know, I couldn't see it because I was too close to the material, but it wasn't very clear, the writing, and I think it was because there was just there were too many things in it. And but you know, you have this very strong line, and it comes across so clearly, and I think probably that helped to orient me, you know, and bring my line, the line I was trying to follow, sort of at the deepest level out, you know. So no, it was really interesting how it all worked. We didn't use the same subject matter ever, really, in a very explicit way, and I think that's great, you know. So there's no question of anyone illustrating the other, or me providing the text for the, you know, for the work. It very much is this dialogue, which is great.